Oh baby, hope you're wearing your sunglasses because you're about to get blinded by color. Ow. This is Laugh Cry DIY. I am your host Katie, and today I am freaking pumped. Because today we are doing my dream kind of makeover. We're talking bold patterns, bright colors, it's loud, it's obnoxious, and I relate to that. We are standing in the very sweet living room of my friend and today's guest, Simon Gibson.
Hey, it's Simon Gibson, comedian, actor, musician. You know, I will say 5'7" in heels. And I'm a 37-year-old single man in Los Angeles, California. Things haven't been going too good for me since Cannonball get canceled.
Why did you call me over?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the channel. But, you know, so I think, you know, doing something just to kind of create more balance, more, you know, just more freaking joy? Have I heard that word? Have I said that word in a long time? Probably not. I've almost forgotten what it means. So I think we're gonna go for definitely like a retro sort of 50s vibe and basically just turn this place into a, you know, somewhere I could invite my mom to sleep on the couch because she's not getting the bed.
So here we are in this living room, super simple. We got white walls. We got some pieces that he's either inherited, found on the side of the road. He's got a sofa, he's got the coffee table. So what we have here is the perfect base to add a little sparkle. Can we do it? There's only one way to find out, and that's to watch to the very end, because the only thing that matters in life is YouTube views. So to start today, let's talk about this main wall. It's a long rectangle. Right now it's totally stark white, totally empty. And you could do a gallery wall, you could add some more artwork, but I wanted to use this wall as the opportunity to make a very bold, very powerful, very political statement. And so at first I thought, let's wallpaper this entire wall. And I started to look at mid-century patterns, but when we priced it out, it was pretty expensive. So instead of spending almost $1,000 on wallpaper, we're gonna hand paint on a faux wallpaper design. Are we that crazy? Yes. Now before we trace the pattern on the wall, we need to make some executive decisions. What's happening in this room is something that happens in a lot of rooms. When you're moving from apartment to apartment, you want to stay budget friendly. You tend to kind of just collect pieces of furniture and just keep them just because you have them. Things you found on the side of the road, something you thrifted, something a friend gave you, or something you spent money on once and don't really like anymore but feel too guilty to get rid of. For Simon, that's what's kind of happening in this room. We have this shelf and we have this bookcase, and they're here, but they're not really serving much of a purpose. To me, this kind of collected furniture kind of always feels like when a friend starts dating a new dude and brings him to your birthday party and you're like, do you need to be here? So for me personally, when I move from apartment to apartment, I kind of reassess the things I have, and I really curate it based on what is serving a function and what actually fits into the space. So we're gonna pull this furniture off the wall so that we can trace our pattern, and then we will figure out what we wanna do with them. Okay, we're marking out the grid on the wall. I'm using colored pencils for chalkboards. This is much easier to wipe off the wall than a regular pencil, and it's much more precise than a thicker piece of chalk. Am I confident in my measurements? Absolutely not. By the way, although Simon is gonna help me with certain parts of this, of course Simon had to work when I had to do the most difficult part of this alone. I have worn through all of the colors of the pencils, and I didn't think to bring a pencil sharpener because why would I? So we are resorting to old school, just whittling it down. Okay, that's enough. It's taken me hours to calculate this whole thing. I'm creating some circles, some half circles. We got our templates, and now we can finally trace them on the wall. You can see very lightly, we have a few colors and we have a few half circles. We're gonna have more, and it's gonna make sense, trust me. I'm like a quarter of the way done, and I realized I completely understood the pattern. This is the pattern we're going for. It's very complicated, a lot of semicircles. So I think I have to erase almost everything I've done. It's a moment of hell. I went through, erased. I marked each square with whatever direction the half moons are gonna go. So I have a bunch of different little symbols all over the wall, and it looks very witchy, and I did check it 2,500 times. Seven hours later, pattern is on the wall, and we will come back to shoot this tomorrow. Didn't hit the camera. Thought it would be a cool move. Alrighty, it is the next day. Simon has finally decided to join us and help work. Next step, now that we have the pattern on the wall, we are gonna paint off parts of the pattern that we wanna make sure we have crisp lines for. And we're gonna do that by putting tape on the wall and then running a bead of...
Oh! I feel weird saying it, but you know, we're all adults here, so it's, I'm gonna be putting down some pretty good cock. I've never said that before. Cock! Anyone got some good cock? Quick seal cock. It'll stuff ya.
Anywhere you want a crisp, clean line, you painter's tape that off, and then you take some caulking and you just run a little bead down the side, and that just creates a little perfect protective border so that when the paint goes over it and you peel it off, there's no bleed through or anything like that. We're using white caulking because this is a white wall, but you can also use clear silicone caulking on any color wall.
I'm having the time of my life with this cock. Hit me with your best cock!
Now, when Simon and I were talking about the color schemes for this place, one of the problems we were trying to solve for in this space is that it's actually very dark. We have the exposure super up on the camera, but it's very dark. There's only one source of light, so we wanted ways to really brighten this space. So obviously we chose
orange and turquoise. Subtle, quiet, understated, sophisticated, soft-spoken. That's who I am.
We are actually going to do this entire pattern in orange, but not just any orange, not basic orange, not boring orange. We are doing
Joyful Orange by Behr.
We're doing our first shape. We're nervous. If this isn't on camera, oh, it is. Okay.
I think we got it, yeah. All right, let's see if old steady hand still has what it takes to make it in the painting biz. This is how I talk now when I paint.
I'm a little painting boy from a little land.
Okay, we're looking good. Let's do this whole thing. If you guys want to see why Simon is now the roller, that's his line, and then that's mine. You guys, I met Simon doing stand-up in LA. He's responsible for one of the most dramatic moments of my life.
What?
I was going to Portland to perform, and I asked him for show recommendations because that's where he's from. And he said, you should do this show called The Comic Strip. And I was like, cool, great. There's a club in New York named The Comic Strip. There's a lot of comedy shows named The Comic Strip. Sounds good. They kept mentioning that the show was 18 up. And I was like, okay, that's fine, cool. I walk into the green room. People are naked. And they're like, yeah, don't you know when you do this show, you have to strip on stage?
I didn't mention that.
And they were like, okay, yeah, what you do is you go on stage and you start telling your jokes, and then at some point, the like mistress of the evening like plays music, and then as soon as the music plays, you have to start stripping.
Did you?
And then yeah, I made a lot of money then.
Did you really? Dude, I'm telling you.
I did take out my shoe inserts and I threw them into the crowd.
There we go.
And that really hit hard.
You probably never got them back either.
No, I never did.
I took off my shirt and I painted abs on.
Okay, that's genius.
And then I took off like pants and I was wearing more pants.
That's a good bit.
That's what I did.
Mural is done, and now it is everyone's favorite time. It's tape time, baby.
It's tape time, baby!
Alrighty, now that we've got tape off the walls, we're gonna move a few things back, starting with the kind of media center that goes under the television. As you will recall, Simon had a very simple, very basic one. The problem is that this media center is not to scale with the TV. Even though we were on an incredibly cheap budget, I'm stubborn and I knew that I could find something better. So I went to the thrift store, and what did I find? A mid-century credenza for $10. Let me get it.
Oh yeah.
Oh baby. This is 48 inches wide, this is 55 inches wide, filling the space, adding scale, adding style, and this actually has a door front in it. The only problem with the door front of this piece is that it was gray. Ew. So obviously, to fit with our theme, I painted it crisp white. We've got a little gold spray paint on the handle. I mean, do you want it the right? Do you want it the left? What do you want? For $10 freaking dollars. $10. $10. $10. Now, as you will recall, we had this little turquoise bookcase shoved in the corner over there. When I came to scout this place the first time, he pointed out that he loved this turquoise color, that he found this on the side of the road, and that his original vision was to turn it into a bar. And I was like, cute idea, but I think I can make you a bar that's turquoise and a little bit more fun. Holy shit! Who would you rather go on a date with? This was an old thrifted microwave cart that I personally made over. If you want to see the journey to this makeover, you can click here to watch that video. But this is literally one of the most beautiful things I've ever made in my life. And now she has a home and a backdrop that is worthy of her. So our paint wall is done. These two beauties have found their home. And I'm gonna come back to finish my styling later. Okay, we're back at my house. It's time for the next DIY of this makeover. Simon has a problem in his apartment that is so common. There is no built-in lighting in his living room. We've all lived in a house like this, and we've all tried to make do with like an IKEA floor lamp in the corner. But because we're going for this really like fun, bold mid-century look, I really wanted to incorporate some quintessential mid-century lighting, such as the Sputnik chandelier. You've seen this style of lighting everywhere. What's really cool is that you can kind of dress it up, dress it down. You can change out the bulbs to kind of give it whatever look you like. But obviously, we are on a very cheap whore budget. We cannot be spending hundreds of dollars on Sputnik chandeliers. We cannot afford to have someone come out and hardwire it. But as I've said to many people before, do not come between me and my vision. They make a Sputnik chandelier that you can plug in. It was $70 on Amazon. It's linked below. They actually only make it in this matte black. Because this is going in a room where we're trying to lighten it up because it's kind of a dark space, and we already have some gold accents like on the bar handles and stuff like that, I wanted to do a gold version of this. I know a really simple way to turn this thing gold: rub and buff. You can use this to turn almost any surface you want gold. You guys, tell me that is not brass. Tell me. Now, like I said, the wonderful part of this chandelier is that it plugs in. But the disastrous part of this chandelier is that it has a black plug. And if we're gonna swag this on the ceiling, we do not want a black plug hanging down. I do have a very smart $3 hack that will change the cord color and therefore change our lives. White electrical tape. I should get a MacArthur grant because this is genius. And let's just get back to the makeover. We'll say if anybody out there watching wants to get jacked this summer, might I recommend scrubbing caulking off of walls. Now we're gonna turn our attention to Simon's art. And he actually has a lot of great art on the wall. It already has that kind of like orange and turquoise vibe. Now this piece of art behind me is very special. Simon, do you want to explain this beautiful piece of art?
You know, in LA we perform at a lot of backyards, you know. I used to do this bit where I would basically just act out all 3 Matrix movies on stage. The people loved it. I'm holding the microphone, not realizing that the rubber cord had melted away and it was just an exposed wire. I grabbed a metal chain link fence that was right behind me, immediately start getting electrocuted. It's the hardest laugh I've ever gotten in my whole life to this day.
So we want to preserve this forever, but we do want to add a little more electricity
Hey!
and pizzazz to the frame.
Yeah.
So just because this frame was a little drab in comparison to everything else in the room, we wanted to just add a little pop of color. We're using turquoise tint. This is the same chalk paint I used to paint the bar. We're also gonna zhuzh up some beautiful little fake succulents just to add some more pops of color around. Alrighty, we're gonna let these dry and come back for a second coat. Let's get Simon back on the wall. Yay. Alrighty, now is the moment we have all been waiting for, and that is the moment to hang the chandelier. Now I know that putting a hook in your ceiling can seem really intimidating. I'm gonna walk you guys through it. It's the easiest thing in the world. So what you do is you get a swag lamp hook, which looks like this, and all you do is you drill a hole in the ceiling and you shove this through and it catches on the ceiling. Then you can just keep twisting it and it'll go all the way up to wherever you need it to go. So we're gonna put a hook in the middle of the living room. Make sure to move your drink from underneath before you get drywall in it. And then we're gonna swag it back to a hook back there so that the cord can hang down and plug in. Are you ready? After Simon's story, I'm truly terrified of being electrocuted, but this is not plugged in. So we're just doing some simple classic Edison bulbs. And pro tip, if you're getting a light like this with a lot of bulbs in it, order an extra pack. We've all been there. One of your bulbs burns out, you don't want to deal with it, your life's falling apart, and therefore you just live with one light bulb for the rest of your life. I gotta say, this light was probably one of my better ideas. Oh my God. And now, you know what time it is. It's pillow time, baby. I made a bunch of throw pillows out of thrifted items. For example, this is made out of a shirt. You can see that video here. In this room, we are using the 60-30-10 rule of using colors. So we have like 60% orange, 30% turquoise, and then our 10% is actually neon green. Okay. Unfortunately, I've decided that a lot of these, they're not working for me. Okay, I think the real problem was that I didn't have two of the same pillow to kind of create some sort of visual balance or anchor. So right now, what am I doing? Oh, I don't know, just last minute sewing some new throw pillow covers from a pair of old bed sheets. So we have recovered Simon's pillows, kicky, tropical kind of 60s palm print. And I'm obsessed with this grandma pillow. I made this from a different pillowcase, but it has this like groovy crocheted edge. And I was kind of having a panic attack last night, so I did a last minute run to Marshall's, and I found, of course, the grooviest, furriest pillow, and I feel like this is quickly turned from like a chic mid-century to like a very groovy shag lounge. Now, Simon already had this Target pillow. It's super soft, it's super big, it's fluffy, but the color is a little bit off. And I happen to have one of these IKEA shams that is very mod. And even though it's a black and white, it kind of breaks up all the other color we're doing. And I think it's the right choice for this. And then we can layer our other pieces in. And of course, you gotta have a nice cozy throw to cuddle up with. And you gotta have it in a fun, bright print. Hi again, it's me. I'm not happy with how the rub and buff went on. I'm not gonna blame rub and buff, I'm gonna blame myself. What they always say is just use a little bit, and I took that, I think, to the extreme, and so I think I used too little bit at a time, and then I had to layer it over, and so it's actually patchy and textured because I had to keep layering over. I'm gonna hit it with spray paint really quickly. So you can see I have sanded down any of the weird like bumpy parts or any splotchy spots. And this is my car, so if it gets spray painted, it's fine. You also wanna make sure that you're not spraying into any electrical parts. If this was a different design that had them more exposed, I would tape those off, but they all are like pointing away, so it's okay. Chandelier, back and looking better than ever. Moving on. So one of the coolest pieces of Simon's apartment is this divider wall. It's like quintessentially mid-century, fun geometric rectangles that counterbalance the crazy geometric orange wall. And Simon does use this shelf to display a very special collection in his home.
Yeah, and that is, you know, like everyone else's parents, my dad makes magic wands. He goes into the woods, forages for sticks and twigs, and then hand whittles them into these beautiful crystal charged magic wands that he refuses to sell. So if you want to buy them, you can't, because you're not worthy. You might use them for evil.
Simon has put his wands at every mini shelf that is at eye level, but that kind of clutters it up a little bit because you're not getting to see that this is its own shelf, this is a beautiful shelf, this is a beautiful shelf. So we're gonna redistribute some items to use the full space of the shelf. Tell me this is a dude's apartment without telling me this is a dude's apartment. I don't know, but don't talk to me until I've had my porn hub. It also has a lot of crystals kind of interspersed throughout, and that's fine, but it can look a little bit more intentional if we group them together and curate them in their own little spot. And if you also struggle with styling shelves, you should see my video on how to style a shelf. All right, your girl has had some setbacks today, so I need a win, and that win is gonna come in the form of covering these ugly cords. And so we are going to use simple handy cord covers to perfectly disguise this. Sometimes you just need to click it in. Now, I was not planning to keep the bookcase in here, but while I was gone last night, Simon snuck it in and he styled it the way he wanted to. This is a real house, this is a real man, and we're just gonna leave this here. But I do wanna add a little more pop of color because I can't resist. So I am putting this vase that I made, you can see the planters I made for this video. We're just gonna pop it on there. Now, one problem we have in this space is that because we've tucked the bookcase next to the credenza, we have this weird open space. We thought about a fake tree, but they can be pricey and we're trying to keep it cheap here. So instead of adding a fake tree for now, I'm actually going to fill the space by popping in this cute little chair and adding a plant on top of that. But it's low light, Simon's a dude, no offense, he's probably not gonna keep a plant alive. So we're gonna do fake plants, but you know the key to realistic fake plants? Real dirt. Because we live in LA, baby, and everything's fake. Now, she's super cute alone, but I do have something that I've had in my house for a long time. It doesn't work, and I've just had it lying around, and I was like, I feel like this might be the place, and that is a vintage 1973 Princess phone from Western Electric. And it's kind of in the color scheme. It feels like it should be there, and it makes it feel like this is a cute little telephone table. And now, time to bring this coffee table in. One of the simplest, easiest ways to make your coffee table look put together, to really make any space that kind of holds a lot of little clutter or junk look more cohesive, is to simply add a tray. The wall was like kind of a change, but this is like the most drastic thing I've ever seen. Pop on a candle just for a little fun and style. And now, we've painted, we've styled, we've sewed, and now it is time to see your very groovy reveal. You guys, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Thank you so much to Simon for letting me do his place. If you want to see more very groovy, very cheap, and very realistic makeovers for people's homes, go ahead and like and subscribe. And until next time, Spice Girls. That's not the 60s.